in this plate, there is no envelope, right? So you're gonna have to do your own envelope. Kind of reaching around here, but I'll do my best. You always want to start, holding your pencil from the back and launching these really long, loose lines. So you want to find a window that is the same size, right? Because you're going to be doing sight size. Does everyone have this video pinned so that it's big on their screen?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure you pin it. So that's roughly the same size. And then you just want to go around the outside shapes. Pretend you've got a block of marble. It's a rectangular block of marble, and you're starting to chisel away at some of these negative shapes that you're sure of. You're always going to be conservative though, right? You're going to say, okay, if I chip away too much, there's no way of going back because I will have, will have run out of room. Kind of helps me to get that triangle in there. Right, always the same thing, long, loose, light lines. And so you want to do everything by eyeballing. You don't want to use any rulers or anything because honestly, you're really just trying to train your eye. Always being a little conservative with these measurements. Yeah, after the demo, we'll go and look at all the drawings that I've received. They look awesome. You guys are great. All right, let's talk about this big negative shape up here. Because, visually, it's just taken up so much space. It's a big shape that I can use to help me find these other proportions. It's hard to see past this camera. So you see, it's like really scribbly at first, and I like that, actually, because I'm not committed to anything. I recently discovered in copying that painting, of the landscape, that at a certain point when I'd be blocking in, I had to go in and I had to mess it all up and then reorganize it again. And it came out better because all of the paint was kind of mixed in and it was all wet into wet. So I purposely had to go in and mess it up. I'd be like talking to myself, be like, okay, let's go in and be a little retarded here and miss that, and then reorganize it again and come out better. So everything that you learn in this approach to drawing, you will carry into your painting. Okay, so, at one point, I feel like if I make any more lines on here, I won't be able to tell where any of the big shapes are. So this is, in this way, when I rub it down with the paper towel, it gives me a whole nother opportunity to draw it again. And I've got some kind of guidelines here to help me with the second drawing. It looks a little wide. I wish I could stand right in front of it, but I'm looking at it from the side a little bit. Excuses, excuses. I'll get there. And if you just did 3 starts in like half an hour and then threw those 3 starts away and then started in earnest, it would be time well spent. They have us do that in school, like we'll have to start a master copy and then rub it out and then do it again. Okay, so now I'm going to go for some really decisive tilts and angles. I feel like it got too wide, so I'm gonna start to chisel in a little bit on the width. See, I'm going a lot slower now. I've changed my rhythm completely from scratch, scratch, scratch to scratch, scratch, right? There's a change in rhythm there. Get that tilt less sloped. That can be narrower. I think I need to start separating the head from the neck a little bit. Still keeping my lines really fuzzy. Sometimes if I stare enough times, or if I go back and forth like maybe 5 times, like if you look at my eyes, I'll be going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll see something right here. Like somehow this information transfers itself here, and then all I have to do is put that line there. So when I did that 5 times, I saw this, this huge angle here with the shadow. And that will probably help me find the true widths. Because they're not right yet. They're still wonky. And every line is going to make me aware of what's wrong. It's like every line is going to point me in the direction of getting it right. So I can't judge it for a long time. I just have to keep going. There isn't enough information here for me to judge it yet. And believe me, this is the most important step of the drawing. It's a good thing that it's just simple like this, just straight lines and angles, because, there's a lot of information over here, a lot of difficult shapes to get. But anyway, going back to the envelope, it is the most important step in the drawing. So if you would spend more time on your envelopes, the end result would be even better, right? And so that's what Barg teaches us, is to spend a lot of time on the envelope. Okay, so now I'm starting to find some of these terminators. Maybe I should slow down a little bit more and look more times back and forth. So if you have any questions, unmute yourselves and jump in. I'm not looking at the chat box right now. You can talk to each other too, that's fine. You can just, use that chat box to talk to each other. So I kind of feel like the widest part of this cast is there. And the tallest part of the cast would be this corner to this corner. I mean, those are 2 pretty important tilts. Where you take the widest point
it's 3 o'clock
at the height, Oh, good. Now we know it's 3. I'll probably try to finish by 3:20. And then there's an important event here that I could probably use as a plumb line. You know, this right here is really well situated, right? So let's drop a plumb line there. And so this kind of line, look at that, it lines up exactly where this is happening. This is the widest point here. So let's reorganize that. That's where that hair starts to emerge on the side plane of her head. That really helps me because that negative shape up there at the top of her head is a big chunk of this entire shape. Let's see what other landmarks we can find. You know, this one would probably be a really important one too. Let's see what happens when we drop that plumb line. Okay, so this one is really close to the edge here. Let's see what that does if I drop it. See how well I did. Yeah, so, you know, that was pretty close. Somewhere around there. And so maybe I can start to separate the hair mass from the face mass a little better. Let's do that. So I'm seeing this kind of an angle here. I think I'll put that one in. There's a lot more lines here that I have. It's like a web than what I'm actually seeing, but I have to find their relationships, right? So if I keep them a little darker where they start to describe the edges of forms like ear, hair, stuff like that, then I can still see them. Let's put that angle in for the helix. That helix seems to point down to the center of the parting of her lips. And that's a really important landmark in a face, right? Remember the center of the parting of the lips. That's how you get your entire rotation of the head. So the lips should be somewhere around here where these two intersect. And so once I have that, let's carve out a little bit more of this terminator. Because I'm going to need a shadow shape really soon. You know, there's just too many lines up here. It kind of looks like this could be connected with a tilt. And you know what? You can just draw on your print too, if it helps you. You can turn it upside down. You can take a picture of your drawing and flip it and flip the original. And boy, when you do that, that's when you really see what needs to be worked on. Leonardo da Vinci is famous for doing that. He's probably one of the first people to think about it. Okay, I think I'm going to need some nose. So we said the center of the parting lips is probably here. Nose is just a little bit higher than that. So like this, which shows me that, this just got a little too wide. Let's bring it in so that we have room for this part of the terminator. Yeah, so I'm gonna flip into value. There's just too many lines up here. I can't tell what's happening. So let's just do these big dark shapes. You know what? My pencil's dull, so I'm gonna get another sharp one. So I'm using I'm using a B, but it's a Tombow. It's a mono Tombow, and these leads are really soft. So I think a B and a Tombow would probably be equal to a 2B in a regular drawing pencil like Derwent or Faber-Castell or Ticonderogas. They're Ticonderoga, whatever. They tend to be a little hard and silvery. I don't like them, but Mark really likes them.
Alert from Google Chrome.
That looks to be almost plum. So we'll just make it plum for now. My very first lesson in Italy with that Italian master that I studied with, his first lesson was a cast. And the first thing he did was he said, you've got to learn how to be able to divide things between light and shadow. And he basically did like an outline of the cast, which was a head, child's head, and divided it in half. He said, that's the most profound thing that you can say at the beginning of a drawing. Right, because it's all about being fast and efficient and keeping it simple enough. We don't have too many things floating around in our head. Okay, so that's a really loose beginning. And now I can take my stump and I can make those that shadow value a little bit easier to see. And you see how I'm stumping in the opposite direction of my marks? I should probably be going a little bit more slowly because I'm getting some noise in my value here, and I want to keep it really flat. But I'm kind of in a hurry because I don't want this demonstration to go on for 3 hours.
Wait, what do you do if you don't have a stump?
That's a good question. I suppose you can rub it down with your paper towel. Let's see how that compares to paper towel. That's a good question. So if you have a dirty paper towel, this has already been dirty from the first time I wiped it. So let's see how that performs. It's not bad. It's not as dark, but certainly there's a lot less noise. It's just that your finger's going to go right through it pretty fast.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and use the paper towel because maybe other people don't have stumps either. And there's no reason you can't be drawing while you stump, right? Instead of adding stuff with your pencil point, now you're adding big mass with your tone. And this is going to help me create a better envelope. Still going to keep it as geometric and simple as possible. You know, it's like an amateur would get stuck right there for about an hour. Because an amateur would say, oh, look at all this light under the chin, but that's not light. It's reflection. It's just a little bit of this bouncing up under the chin, but you want to ignore it completely. Because it would just, take you so long to figure that out. And then in the end, it'd be in the wrong place anyway. Because you weren't ready to build it. Any other questions? I hear some other background noise. This could be a little higher. Don't think I have enough pigment to draw with that. Anyway, somewhere around there. Not ready for that information either, but it's kind of nice if you just make a stab at something. It's like, that's a really difficult thing to figure out. It's like, where the heck is that? This isn't even in the right place. So that's probably enough information right there, just that little paw print. Try to get this a little more even. Like, I don't like all that noise in there. It's just, distracting. Yeah, maybe the paper towel's even better, Lucas. Look at that. Keeps it lighter anyway. All right, so I think I can clean out some of this now. So eraser, you can pull it into this kind of a point. And the first thing I want to do is, this looked way out of whack. So if I start really with a lot of pressure, I'm going to make a white mark on my paper and it's going to be distracting. So I'll kind of pick up some of that graphite on the eraser, and with barely any pressure, like starting in the middle of this big light shape, right? Then I'll just gradually bring it over. Remember how you bulldoze an edge with a paintbrush? This is where it comes from. It's creeping up on a shape rather than trying to nail it. You want to creep up on it. So here I see a little more of an angle here for the corner of the forehead. And obviously the cheekbone. Let's work on that diamond. You know, if you can see this as a diamond, and then work on the nature of the tilt of that diamond, probably you'll have more success with it. This almost looks to be level, right? That's almost a level line. So I'll keep my eraser going in a level back and forth like that. And maybe bring this socket down just a wee bit. You know, that's almost level too, so let's just make it level. In fact, that's a really good point. When you're figuring out your tilts and angles, see how they relate to level and plumb. And you know, you can say, oh, it just deviates a little bit from level, or it is level. This needs to be higher. You know, is that level? It's really not. This is just a little bit lower than that. Not by much. So we'll put that in. And, you know, that's just way too wide still. So we'll bring it in. And it's got a really big tilt. And this can come in too. Right? Just by chipping away at it as if it was a marble block, I can get it closer. You know, and you can eat and then rub it down. So it looks like, you know, you started with those perfect measurements. Okay, it looks like this can come in a lot. And the nose sort of passes this boundary by a little bit. Probably there. And again. All right, so I've spent way too much time on the face, and it's getting away from me. So I have to step back and move away from it. You know, I tried my best, and it started getting a little too tight. Caught myself. You know, it's okay to go in and make a stab at it, but if you feel like it's, you know, it's calling all of your attention and you're not moving around, the red flag should go up in your psyche and you'd be like, whoa. what did I just do there? I just spent way too much time on that, and I got to keep moving. And it's fun, right? Because then you don't feel like, oh, I didn't get that shape. Of course you didn't. I didn't. It's too soon to get that shape. I don't have enough information to get that shape. This can come down. Yeah, I'm just doing tilts and angles now with the eraser. That's actually not level.
Michaela, looks like we lost your video. Did we? Oh no, I'm sorry. Your phone number came back up, so okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, I was getting a call from my best friend.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. Sorry.
Someone's still thinking about me out there. Good. You know, and you can draw with your eraser the same way you draw with a pencil. See how I'm doing these parallel lines? And just like my only concern is the nature of that angle. That's the only thing I care about right now. Or the nature of this angle. You know, I can just creep right up to it and do that. All right, so I keep avoiding this area because it's kind of funny, but this area looks like it'd be the easiest. You know, the nape of the neck. Whoa, that's like one of the hardest areas because everything is going to relate to that. And if that isn't right, everything else will be off. So pretty soon I'm going to start doing some triangulation. What time is it? Okay, so I've gone over my demo by 4 minutes. Let's keep going another 10, where I hope to establish a stronger envelope. And then we'll take a quick 5-minute break. And we'll start looking at the drawings that were sent in. And if you're working on your drawing right now or one of the other ones that I sent you, like the eyes, the rendered eye, that's fine. You can just keep drawing. But, you know, stay connected. Yeah, something seems wonky down here. In the neck. So I think I'm going to need a triangulation. Maybe my head is still too wide. It kind of feels way too wide, actually. Let's bring it in. and go back in again with my lines. And possibly we'll start with that triangulation. All right, so in triangulation, what you're looking for, you want to find some significant landmarks. Let's call the tip of the nose and definitely this point up here. And let's go here. Let's do these three. Right? So get a ruler and draw right on your bar drawing. I'm going to have to get in here to do this. Tip of the nose, that's one dot. Widest point here at the top of the head. Okay, we got that line. It's probably, you probably can't even see it on your clipboard. And here. And make those lines longer than you actually need them so that you see the vectors. Right? And that's a triangle. Right? That's triangulation. So then you find those same landmarks on your drawing and put dots there. Right? And you can do it with a ruler. You know, I do that and it's like, well, that's not bad. And let's see this one. Right? Because if these are in the right place, cheers. I can be certain that my basic proportions are right, because this is a really big, yeah. Did someone click on? Now I compare those two triangles and the negative shapes. Right? I can tell more from this negative shape outside than inside. So I compare that triangle to this triangle. And it also...
I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
That was weird. Who is that? My computer's talking to me. All right, if nothing else, we will get this outside shape. So now I'm seeing this comes in more, and then I have that. Right? There's a little V shape there. This would be an interesting triangulation too, from there to there. Maybe we should put that in. You know, think of big ones. A dot here at the bottom of the chin and a dot here at the nape of the neck. Actually, that's the 7th vertebrae right there. It sticks out farther than any other vertebrae on the spine. And that's what we call the nape of the neck right there. The 7th cervical vertebrae. Let's check that tilt. And look at this beautiful triangle here now. We have this triangle. That's pretty good. This might be a little higher. Kind of looks like this could be a little narrower too.
It's 3:30.
Whoops. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. There's no end to this game. Let's put that one in, right? And now we have that triangle. And we have this really important tilt. I don't think that this and this are on the same line, but we can check. Nope. That's how different they are, which is also information. I think this can move in just a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and knock out that outside shape. I think this could be a little narrower. Bring this in. And this, my friends, is the way the old masters have taught us how to draw. Because these lessons have been passed down from master to pupil, starting in Italy, winding up in France, imported to the United States. It's pretty amazing. Maybe it took 500 years. I think Nelson said something like, he had studied with somebody who would study with somebody who would study with somebody who would study with somebody, go all the way back to Titian. Whoa. That's pretty cool. We have this little triangle here. How perfect is that? It's already there. Remember, I'm still just blocking in, so I'm not worried about any of the organic shapes yet. I am only worried about tilts and angles. And you want to keep that up just as long as you need to. When you look up here and there's nothing no longer wonky, then you have a successful envelope. So here I'm seeing, looks like a bird's beak. So in my imagination, I think, what is the gesture of that bird's beak? And I try to imitate the gesture of that shape. I think we said that was our landmark right there. Somehow that looks wrong now, I think I'm going to push it over just a wee bit. Possibly I got this too narrow. So let's push this over a wee bit. Let's go back. Just kind of push it. Looking for that bird's beak again. And how it relates to this. angle. These drops. I'll just go around all the way around the outside and then we'll stop. And then I'll just, look at your drawings. Actually, you know what? From now on, I would love for you to send me your envelopes. Like when you finish the envelope stage, I would like for you to take a picture of it and send it to me, so I can see what you're starting with. This particular cast has no plate for it, so you'll have to do your own envelope. That'll really help me to divide that, because this is a really complex area. Very, very difficult. A lot of anatomy here. Yeah. Is that a question? Okay, that's pretty easy. That seems to be a perfectly level line. Probably Charles thought of that. Just a dot. That dot is plumb under our landmark. Look at that. Come down. That's where that dot is. Doesn't look right yet, because this stuff is wrong. Now this has to move. Let's see if we can turn this into a letter T.
Alert from Google Chrome.
Okay. Move that over again. Wow, that was difficult. But, it's still not right. It's still not perfect. That's okay. I can't figure it out now. I don't have enough information. But I tried. You got to just keep telling yourself, I got a little bit closer. That's all you can do. I used to get mad at myself when I was young if I couldn't nail it right away. And it's just so ridiculous. Why Why would I do that to myself? Why would I make myself so miserable when drawing should have only ever have been a pleasure in the first place? You know, why was I so hard on myself? But these are lessons we learn as we mess up enough times. And we just have to, let go. All right, so we get all the way around the outside shape and call this a day. You all are probably tired of watching this screen. And so the mouth is just, it's already there. It doesn't take me much now to figure where that, all those beautiful, difficult shapes are now. But I could have never found those if I had started with them. It would have been impossible. Letter L, right? Can you see that as the letter L? Fatter. And see if we can get this just a little better. Creeping up on it. Okay, I got a little too much information in there. I don't want to do it again. Like, let's say you do something. It's like, oh, I went in there a little bit too much and I got a wonky mouth. No problem. Right? You can wipe it out and, go move on to another thing and then try again later, which I would have to do. Like, now I would work somewhere else and then come back to that because it's just a little too difficult for me right now. You know what I mean? Okay, that's it. I hope that really helped. I mean, it's so important to watch demos. At school, we were made to watch hundreds of hours of demos. Let me get my glasses. I don't know where they are.